This is Wretched Radio with Todd Friel.
At one time, I just had the idea of Riverstone. They're the right size for hands. You can throw them very hard, and they will create or cause pain, which can distract.
That would be the solution to the terror problem in America. This is Wretched Radio. That was a doctor, a superintendent of a school district in Pennsylvania, who decided, I've got the solution to kids getting mowed down by automatic weapons or even semi-automatic weapons in schools. Give them rocks. I think he's calling it the David Project. If not, he should. Why not try to slap a Bible verse on that? That is the world's thinking. Get used to it, Christian. That's the world that we live in. And here's the reality. They are not addressing the problems that are creating a breeding ground for mass shooters. That is a much bigger problem than what we do at the schools. I would ask any secular humanist, is this really the world that you want to live in? You want to have to give our kids rocks. How many rocks do they get? What if one of the kids throws a rock at the teacher instead? Are we going to ban all rocks for all time? Do we really want the safety of our children put into their own hands by throwing stones at shooters? Really? Do we even want guards? Do we want to have everybody scan before they go into you're okay with that culture. That's the world. Yes, that's fine. Or do you want to take a look at the bigger social ills? And the problem is that they don't. Why are these kids doing this? What's changed? All you need to do is recognize we're a post-Christian culture. Therefore, we can give credit to secular humanism for the nonsense and the violence that we're seeing in our culture. It's all yours. Congratulations. This is your world. Oh, I know. You didn't like the Christian world because it was so puritanical. You didn't like the idea of people perhaps constraining their lusts. I understand that. You like the idea of women being able to proclaim it's their own body so that they can kill their own child. I got that you didn't like it. You like this better? You liking this world better? And the answer is they wouldn't trade it in a heartbeat. That's the problem. Sin is so ravenous. Sin is so all-encompassing. Sin is so deceptive that people will look at this as a solution. Let's have the kids throw rocks because we're not going back. You're not going to take away our violent video games. No, you're just not. You're not going to take away our violent movies. When I was walking through the Cineplex the other day, I was shocked at how many of these movie posters have the star happen to have a gun in their hands. And then they campaign against guns. Just staggering. You willing to give up those movies? No, they won't. How's about changing the culture of death? How's about not killing our babies anymore? Nope, they're not interested. How's about we at least don't kill old people that we consider infirm? Not interested. Helping people kill themselves with hemlock laws? No, we'd like to keep those. And we're willing to pay the price of our kids getting shot up in the schools because we love our sin more. I don't know, maybe you could give up the pornography. No, we're not interested in that. Here's a real crazy one. You're probably going to laugh at this. How's about, I don't know, moms stay home with their children? Ha ha! You crazy Christians! We're not interested. We'll let the kids get shot up at schools and we'll give them rocks to throw at the bad guys. Hey, here's an idea. No pornography for the fellas anymore. Let's cut that out. How's about let's stop putting our kids in daycare because we know that we know this. And I'm sorry if this steps on your toes. I'm not trying to, but the reality is kids in daycare pay a price, and so do the moms, incidentally. It is well documented. It's simply not well discussed. Churches are participating in that effort too, by the way. Let's get rid of all of that so that mom can be an influence on the children from birth on up. I don't know. How's about that we stop all of this single baby business that we see and start promoting marriage where a dad stays there. He's not just the baby daddy. He's actually the father to the child. The world's response, nah, that's all right. we'd like to keep that. So if the price is our kids getting shot up at schools, we'll pay that price. My point is, we can talk about this till the cows come home, and we can talk about changing the moral culture in this country. They're not interested. They're not. They love their sin too much. It's too far gone. Any sort of restraints that are in our culture, shame, gone. Any semblance of, I don't want to besmirch the family name, gone. The constraints and the controls, they basically have been removed. Not entirely, because it's not complete chaos yet. The world isn't interested in trading sin for safety. They're not interested. So what do we do? Well, I think we make a mistake if we're constantly focusing on the morality, talking about gun laws, talking about gun issues. Like, all of those conversations, they're important, but nobody's really... How many people do we think we're going to persuade? How many folks do we think we're going to persuade? I was at the grocery store this weekend, was looking for a birthday card for my... daughter turned 24. And I noticed that Hallmark's got all their Easter cards out. I found one card that had a cross on it. The rest are bunny rabbits. That's our country. Easter is a bunny rabbit and hollow chocolate bunny fest. It's not Christian. And yet we have an awful lot of Christians that are trying to reclaim America to make it Christian. I got to tell you, if the card display at the Publix is any sort of proof, I don't think you're making a whole lot of ground. It doesn't look like we're reclaiming America anytime soon. Furthermore, they don't want to be reclaimed. They're not willing to give up their sin for safety. They don't care if their kids get shot up. I want my sin. Because if you put it to these people, to this superintendent, I've got another plan for you. And guess what? This one could actually work. Let's say we had empirical data. This will work. We need to be preaching the gospel in communities, promoting fathers being a part of the family as the dad, moms taking care of their children. We're going to cut out the pornography nonsense, which is so bad for women. We're going to deal with all of the societal, the video games. We're going to cut these kids off from it. We're not going to be that kind of culture. We're going to be a high-minded culture. In fact, we're even going to take a look at some of our cultural barometers like music. And we're going to see what kind of messages, angry messages, are getting pumped into the heads of the kids. And we're going to lose that garbage. And we're going to start promoting something higher and loftier. Because we're image bearers of God. Next, they would not consider it for a second if it were put to them that way. So why are we arguing with them? Worthless in my estimate. Worthless. Now, if you want to be a Christian involved in legislation to try to do good, you do that. Not my point. These people need something far more than persuasive arguments or alternatives that are supposedly empirically based through some sort of scientific research or study. They need a heart change. They need a heart transplant. They need to be so radically redone in order to see, wow, we're just doing this whole thing wrong. And until that happens, this is the secular humanist world, and Christian, we're merely living in it. And we make a mistake if we apply our effort, our time, our energy, our money, our talents to getting people to simply change their mind about their lifestyle. They're not going to do it. They don't want it. They would, I kid you, you look back, I'm sorry to be maybe a little bit hyperbolic, but I'm not sure that this is off the chart. You look back and you consider, in the Old Testament, the sacrifice of babies to Moloch, and it would appear that Jews were doing it too with their own children because of the syncretism that had made its way. God told them, He made sure all of those religions are out. They didn't. They stayed in. They affected even the Jewish people. To sacrifice their own children. Why? Why would you kill your own child? What kind of parents would do that? Answer, pagan parents, unregenerated parents. That's who would do that. Why would we think that the unbelieving parents today aren't willing to sacrifice their children to the altar of their own idolatry, which happens to be self and their own personal sin? Do they grieve? Of course they do. I'm not suggesting that. But I wonder, I don't know the answer to this, but I wonder if all of the parents who have now lost children in these school shootings, would you be willing to suggest that this country stops with the pornography, the violent video games, the violent movies, the horrible sexist, racist, all the violent music that we have. We're going to cut all of those things out. Did I mention pornography? That's got to go too. Daycare, we're going to start eliminating that and getting people so that they can live in a family structure that's better for the children. You willing to go for that to protect the children and generations to come? I wonder how many would say yes. Our mission, our assignment is not to persuade people how the country should be run. You can do that if you choose to on your free time. Knock yourself out. The mission of the church, the mission of the Christian is what? Go and make disciples. Make disciples, because disciples think better, by the way. First of all, it glorifies God. It is our marching order. People get saved. It has an eternal impact. And a temporal result is societies change. Without that, you can look forward to more stories of doctors, superintendents coming up with cockamamie ideas like having the students armed with river rock to hurt a shooter. This is Wretched Radio. Thank you very much for watching one segment. You can listen to 3 more, well, if you can stomach it, for free at wretched.org, iTunes, Android, whatever your listening device is. If you have a plate in your head, you can pick up the program from anywhere around the world, thanks to the ongoing monthly support of our gospel partners. Should you be one of the people who has listened to the program for an extended period of time, meaning more than once, would you please consider becoming a gospel partner so we can continue to proclaim the good news of the gospel? Simply visit wretched.org.